Hello, this is Tony Messer here at Pickaweb, asking the questions that business owners want answers to. Today, I'm very excited to be speaking to Charlie Mullins of Pimlico Plumbers. Charlie started his business from a basement in Pimlico, London in 1979, and he has since built it up to a company employing 200 people with a turnover in excess of £18 million. He is often referred to as Britain's richest plumber and the so-called plumber to the stars. He has featured on Channel 4's Secret Millionaire. Charlie has a no-nonsense approach to business, and he is totally focused on offering the highest quality of service to his customers. But Charlie is also keen to put back into society. He has a work placement programme in place for the Prince's Trust youngsters. He carries out mentoring, gives inspirational talks, and he works closely with senior members of the government to help develop policies to help young people. Charlie, a very big welcome to you.
Yeah, welcome, Tony. Thanks very much for allowing me to have an interview with you. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Now, Charlie, just take us back to the beginning. When you started your business back in the 1970s, did you start out with a dream, or were you just looking to earn a wage?
No, exactly as you said. It was purely a wage, and I was just very grateful. I started a 4-year apprenticeship, and I used to bunk off school and help a local plumber, and he said to me then that if you take up plumbing, take up a trade, you'll never be out of work and you'll earn loads of money. And he's right on one. I'm still working, but it was all about earning a good wage, and he's been totally correct. I've never been out of work and earning very, very good money from it.
Brilliant. But you've grown, you've had a tremendous success. I'm sure there's been a lot of hard work involved. But my next question is related to growing a business. What have been the biggest challenges that you have met whilst building your business? And how did you overcome these?
Okay, in any business there's many challenges, but I quite like the thing you said, Tony. You used a word called hard work, and yeah. I don't believe that anybody can be successful without hard work. So for me, it's a key ingredient into being successful in your business. Let's never forget the word hard work. And now we move on to some of the biggest problems we had in maintaining the business, and quite clearly one that jumps out above everything else is in the last recession in the late 80s, Pimlico Plumbers nearly went bust. And it was a tremendous struggle, and the reason we nearly went bust was quite clearly I never had a structure in place. I learned a big lesson from that, not having a structure in place. I rejigged everything. I started putting managers in place. I started having a system, a formula, and a plan to work to. But I had no structure whatsoever. So, my biggest sort of problem was not having a structure.
So was that? Sorry, Charlie. I was going to say, was that a management structure, or was that a structure? For example, I know you've got a really great call centre now. Was it that type of structure, or sort of management structure more?
It was more so on the management. I just, basically putting it bluntly, I had square pegs in round holes, and I no longer do that. I'll get the right person for the right job, and I put managers in place. I have a manager for everything now, for catering, for transport, for accounts, for recruitment, for HR, for uniform. I basically sort of, have a manager in place that can overlook that department. Now, I know that's not quite the case for small businesses, but, if you're doing it yourself, you must have a plan. You must have, some form of structure of, how you're going to sort of develop things. It can't just be, whatever comes out of your head. So for me, as I say, biggest mistake was not having a structure in place, and that's an all-round structure, whether it be call centre, transport, or just even in your general office. You've got to have a plan of, you can't do every hour. So, if you've got someone else in, you've got to work a rota system that, they work at these hours, you work at that hours. You've got to have a plan to run a successful business.
So the thing is, I know that is a big problem for a lot of small businesses. They think, I've got to do everything. I'm the man that holds everything, or the woman that holds everything together. How can people learn to kind of let go? And as you say, get the right people in place. If they're a small business and they're trying to grow and maybe cash flow's tight.
Well, sure, but I'm going to stick my head out on the block here, and to have a successful business, you've got to employ people. There ain't one man that's going to just have a business and not having people work for them and be successful. So you've got to start somewhere, and you start maybe on people maybe on getting someone in part-time, But, you know, it was said to me many years ago, you know, when I was doing the plumbing, that, you know, I couldn't be here, there and everywhere. And someone said, you know, Charlie, you need to employ some more Charlies. And that's what I've done. So, you know, you're basically looking for people that are drinking from the same teapot as yourself, part-time. You know, you bring them on, a little bit of casual work, and develop from there. And what you know, I also picked up on the way, you know, we've got some great people out there that work for companies. You know, not everybody's a leader. You know, some people are more than happy to you know, not be in the front line, and, you know, working in the sort of back room of everything. And, you know, again, I've got to say, you know, there's some great workers out there. You know, we look too much on the negative side, I think, of, you know, bad work and not turning up and don't want to work and keep wanting to go away and not doing the job right. There's some great workers out there, and, you know, a lot of people, you know, are desperate for a job. We've moved very much now to taking on a lot of youngsters, and believe me, there's some good youngsters out there that bring a lot of energy to the workplace, a lot of enthusiasm, and they're very, very willing, because, you know, the fact that they've got a job. So, you know, you can save a bit of cost on that by bringing the youngsters in. And again, I'm telling you, you know, they bring a lot to the workplace.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good to hear. You know, so getting a structure in place, building a team up, and that's the way to sort of, that you reckon, to grow your business.
Undoubtedly the way, you know. And as I say, you know, don't be afraid to use someone part-time. Don't be afraid to use old people that may have retired, you know, and don't be afraid to bring the youngsters in, because, you know, I'm telling you now, you know, we've just recently taken on 7, and we call them the Magnificent 7, and you know, the actual energy and enthusiasm they brought throughout the company. And, you know, we obviously pay them a reasonable wage, and, you know, they're happy, we're happy, and, you know, I think the way forward at the moment is to take on, I'm probably going to stick my head on the block here, but either take on, you know, the very young ones or the very old ones.
No, that's good. We need people like you to be saying those types of things, Charlie. That's really good to hear. Now, my next question is around the perception. You know, I know you've changed people's perception of the plumbing industry, and is there a lesson for other business owners to try to do the same in their industry? I know from my own perspective, you know, I'm a business owner. I'm trying to change the way that the hosting industry works. You know, instead of just trying to sell people more disk space and more bandwidth, I'm trying to help them grow their business, and, you know, and trying to break away from just, you know, the pack, as it were.
Of course. Yeah.
Is that something that you would encourage other business owners to do?
Undoubtedly, you know, I look at it as a million plumbing companies out there. And, you know, if we're all doing the same thing, and, you know, we're all just ticking along and getting away. So, you know, certainly I set out to change the plumbing industry. It had a bad stigma about it. And, again, you know, I work everything on common sense. You know, I know common sense ain't that common, but keep it simple. And you know, for argument's sake, you know, all I worked out is 10 things that, you know, upset customers or bad in the plumbing industry, and all I've done was the opposite to them 10 things, you know, such as plumber turns up late, we turn up on time, plumber's scruffy, we turn up smart, plumber's got a dirty old van, we got a clean van, plumber doesn't want to tell you the price, we're transparent, we give prices, plumber doesn't want to get the job finished, we get the job finished, plumber keeps letting you down, we don't let you down. So they're basic things, and I would say look for 10 things that are not done right in your industry, and just do the opposite to them.
Oh, that's brilliant. You know, so we've got Charlie's, you know, top 10 golden rules, and if if you're a business owner listening to this, then what you'd say is, you know, try to identify those things that annoy people, or that are, you know, they don't like, and try to do the opposite of that.
I mean, as an example for a shop, you know, a small shop owner, you know, even in this day and age, a lot of shops still shut for lunchtime, and it annoys people and it annoys customers, and, you know, so just change that policy. You know, open for lunchtime, and you know, it's them sort of, excuse me one second, it's them sort of small things. They're nothing clever. They're really just doing the opposite to what the bad thing is. And, you know, I often say to people, it ain't that, you know, we're so good, Pimlico Plumbers, it's just that some of the rest are so bad, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm just going to ask you a question about, we all make mistakes in life, in business, but, it's our capacity to overcome them and recover from them. What's been your biggest mistake, Charlie, and how did you overcome that?
I'm going to say my biggest mistake is believing I could do everything myself. I was doing plumbing, I was doing recruiting, I was doing wages, I was doing estimates. And I'm a great believer that, we're all good at something, but we're not good at everything. So find out what you're good at and stick to that. And, I'll go back to what I'm saying, if I want someone to do my wages now, I don't go to the butcher's shop, I go and get an accountant, put the right person in that position. So I think it's a case of you can't be good at everything, but once you find what you are good at, stick to that, and then, negotiate the other work to other people. At one time, it sounds crazy now, I was even doing, knocking up advertisements and putting them together. And, I eventually got an advertising manager on, a marketing manager, and he said to me, all these things, if you do them wrong, they have the vice versa effect. So, I'll put an advertisement together, rather than drawing in customers, it was sending them away from me. But it's a fact, Tone. And I think, and it's like I'm saying, if you're doing the accounts and you start making mistakes, then people don't want to be with you.
Absolutely.
So, it's find out what you're good at and don't try and do everything. I know on cost you have to do a lot, but I have to keep saying it, maybe you can get someone to do a certain part of your business and it gives you more time to concentrate on what you're good at,
Yeah. Now, one thing I know is that some people comment on is that your prices, they are higher than the industry standard, than your competition, and that seems a bit strange. Most people would normally cut their prices in a tough economy. What would you say to people who are tempted to cut their prices?
I think it's all about, what it's value for money, and in plumbing, cheapest is the dearest, because if somebody's got to get the job done twice, then it works out a lot dearer. We're marginally dearer than some of the other companies, but we're actually cheaper because, we turn up on time, we get the job done faster. If you've got any problems, we come back on it, and we're not ripping people off. So, of course, you're governed by price, but it's about value for money. So, if somebody's charging £80 an hour and they're only giving someone £50 of a value, then they're dearer than you. I honestly believe that, as much as people are price conscious, it's all about value for money. And, right as I said, if you can give a customer peace of mind by, you've taken the order, you're going to get the job done, you're going to get the order out on time, and the product you've given them, isn't cheap and cheerful, then, people will always pay for quality, Tone.
So the point there is it's a false economy, cheap pricing, and you should be proud to stand up and say to your customers, look, I'm offering you good value for money, and that's what you should try to focus them on, rather than just offering them the cheapest price.
But it's value for money. I mean, I'm going to give you a fine example here. Recently, we quoted for a boiler job, and another company that quoted, they went in, I believe, a lot cheaper. And we said to the customer, look, we can't compete with that price, and we're not prepared to compete with it, because it means we would have to cut down on their standards, and their workmanship wouldn't be the quality that Pimlico needs to supply you with, for a correct price. Now, this job went wrong. They've been back onto us, and basically they've wasted their money. These people went in too cheap. They want us to correct the job. It's going to cost them twice the amount if they would have gone for us in the first place. That isn't always the case, but it often is the case. So, don't cut the quality of your product. I mean, we declined the job, and the customer said, look, I've used you for many years. I'm going to go for a cheaper quote. Unfortunately, they come unstuck with it. Tone, you pay for what you get in this world.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely brilliant advice there. Brilliant advice. Now, on a sort of personal note, your business has brought you considerable personal wealth. Do you find it difficult to motivate yourself, to come in the morning and put in a day's work?
Definitely not. Actually, it motivates me more. Do you know what I mean? Whether the word greedy comes into it, but there's nothing wrong with the word greedy in business. You need, let's be fair. I mean, I'm going to use a Michael Caine saying, "I've been poor and I've been rich, and I know which one I prefer."
Yeah, good stuff. Now you appeared on Channel 4's The Secret Millionaire. What sort of experience was that? How did it feel? Helping people that you'd never previously met before.
Wow. Yeah, well, that one blew me away, Tone. We've helped out, I believe, if you can do a bit of charity work with your business, I think it's great for the community. I think it's great for morale, for staff. And, you're putting a little bit back into it, and, what goes around comes around. But I've never done hands-on before, and that's what Secret Millionaire is. And, I wasn't even sure if I could do it. It's easy, nothing complicated in writing out a cheque if you've got money in the bank, simple as anything. But actually, to be out there, working hands-on, caring for these people, looking after them on a day-to-day basis, putting them first. I honestly didn't think I could do it, and fortunately, I did manage to do it, and absolutely enjoyed it. And it made me have a different sort of outlook on people that work for charities. They're the real heroes, not the people that send them in a few quid. The people that are there all day and every day, caring about these people, making them feel of value to society, rather than just disregarding them. With that program in my life, one of the top 5 things that I will have ever done that I've enjoyed and seen the benefit of it. The Secret Millionaire will be in my top 5 things. It's nearly equivalent to me as opening up Pimlico Plumbers. I mean, I shall never forget it, and I actually think, maybe I'm being a bit selfish, but I actually think I got more out of it than other people, because it just totally changed my views and values on things. And as I say, I found it very, very difficult, I've got to be honest with you, but after a while you become pretty committed to these people, and in the end, they're like your family. Do you know what I mean? You're looking after someone that's hasn't been so fortunate, and has had a few setbacks in life. And I hear people say all the time, the reward you get from it is unbelievable. And as I say, it will be one of my top 5 things in my life.
Oh, that's brilliant! That's really brilliant. That when I watch that program, it does. I mean, it hits you in the stomach. And what really comes across is, as you say, there's people out there day in, day out that are helping on a voluntary basis. And and sometimes they don't get that recognition. I think it's a brilliant program. As I say, it hits me every time I watch it.
Tremendous, and it's amazing the amount of people that benefit from a program like that. They had lots of people that volunteered to help. All the charities had money and goods sent in. All of them had so many other sort of people that got involved with the charity on fundraising. And just generally helping out. The knock-on effect is tremendous, and all of the charities and the people involved with charities, they all benefit. I mean, it's a win-win-win situation. And right as I said to you, it's easy to write a cheque out if you've got money in the bank, but to actually go and help these people and put something back into society. Well, I used to think I was a right selfish bastard, to be honest, and maybe I shouldn't say that.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It goes out uncensored.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I thought I was that, and maybe I was, and I was, I am grateful that they give me that opportunity to do it. And I have many people come on to me, Tone, and say they're thinking of getting involved in a charity, and how difficult is it, and and people are dubious about it, and certainly unsure about it. But I've never met anybody yet that regrets getting involved with it. And I've had a few of the Secret Millionaire potential people come on, and they say to me, was it worth it? Was it this? Was it that? I can only speak for myself, and I'm going to repeat what I said. It is one of the top 5 things I've ever done in my life as a good thing.
Excellent. That's really uplifting. Great stuff. Now, I noticed that you've got a branch in Marbella. Is that right? Now, is that the first sort of international expansion? What's next for Pimlico Plumbers then?
To be honest, I like to keep things pretty tight, and we don't really want to move out of London. There's a lot of work in London. We don't need to spread our wings. We're getting offers left, right, and centre to go Manchester, Birmingham, Scotland, everywhere. We don't need to move out of London. If I move out of London, I feel that I'm not going to be able to offer the quality of service that I can offer in London.
So you want to keep a focus then on your quality and where you know the market.
Exactly. And you've got to be careful on this. It all looks good on paper, the expanding. And a lot of people come unstuck on that. If I'm being honest, the Marbella, all that's really about, Tony, is I bought a villa there, and I was struggling for tradesmen. So I sent some of mine over. The vans were out there. People was hearing about us, and people started using us. So I didn't mean to start it up out there. It ain't sort of, well, look at us in Marbella. Life is tough out in Spain at the moment, a lot tougher than London.
Yeah.
And we're actually more so concentrating out there on existing customers that that live in London and got property, out in Spain, holiday sort of place, or second homes and that, or expats. We're not. I'm not trying to sort of, clean up out in Spain. There's a better marketplace in London for us, and that's what I'm concentrating on. But I've got a team of about 12 or 15 out there, and I've got plumbers over here queuing up to go out there, as you can imagine. But life is tough out there. So what I would say to somebody is, don't just do it because it looks good. Mine became just coincidental. I couldn't get the proper people. They was letting me down, and I just thought, well, I might as well get a couple of my blokes. In course, once I made that aware, they was like queuing up, to go. And it's working okay, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. We're keeping our head above water there, but very, very difficult out there. And of course, not sort of how would you put it? They don't take tradesmen so serious out there. It's a bit like manana, and over here I think we have more pride in our homes, and we're more fussy of who we let in.
You'll have to be careful, Charlie. My wife's Spanish.
I wasn't knocking them, but and now I'm trying to backpedal. You're right. I'll have to be careful. Your wife's Spanish. You are right.
No, she's fine on that front. Now, Charlie, one final question. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Now, if you had to start your business tomorrow from scratch, okay, you had no cash, got no contacts, nothing. What would you do in your first week?
Okay, well, what you just said is exactly what I had to do 33 years ago. No contacts, no money, no nothing. So I'd be back to square one on that. What would I do? The most important thing I do, first of all, is work hard at it. And my first thing I would do is you got to do action. You can't do talking. And I remember all them years ago, I was trying to do every hour possible. I was doing emergency call-outs. I was doing 7 days a week. I wasn't turning no work down. I wasn't letting people down. And, I think looking back on it now, the thing that's got me where I am today, or the company where it is today, is hard work. It starts with hard work. So what would I do? I would be out there on the tools tomorrow, and, as soon as them jobs come in, I'd be out there and offering a quality service and not letting people down. So for me, a key factor to any business is hard work,
So I think the key words we've taken out of there, so it's hard work, action and quality, delivering a quality service to people.
That's right. I mean, Tony, it's often said to me, why is Pimlico Plumbers, we do 1,800 jobs a week, 2,000 jobs a week. Why 80% of our customers have used us before? This are the facts. And people say to me, what's the winning formation? What is it that's different about Pimlico? What is this? What is that? The end result, Tone, don't matter how tidy your vans are, what brilliant uniform you wear, how polite your office staff are. It's all about the product and quality of service. If you haven't got that, it ain't going to work for you. You must have, you must provide. Price doesn't even come into it. It's no point in being cheaper than everyone else and offering them a crap service. So the key to, I believe, a successful business is quality of service or quality of product.
Excellent.
Sorry, Tone, I just had the last bit. It's a bit like, I'm going to use an example, if somebody wants to buy a Marks and Spencer suit, nothing wrong with that, and you get a Marks and Spencer suit. If somebody wants to pay for a Savile Row suit, you get a Savile Row suit. So it's value for money, but people will always pay for quality.
There you go. That's brilliant. That's fantastic advice. That really is. And people listening to this, Charlie's been there. He's done it. He's got the T-shirt. So he's telling it as it is. So hopefully, this will mean a lot to listening to you, Charlie. This will mean a lot to our listeners.
Well, hopefully, and I know I'm waffling on. I want to add one more point. We invest heavily in youngsters and apprentices. Apprenticeship was the best thing I ever done. So I'm totally behind getting youngsters into work. And let's not kid anybody. You ain't got to have a brain in your ears tonight. They are our future. So I would say to anybody, invest in the youngsters, because if I run out of apprentices, then there won't be a Pimlico Plumbers when I'm in my box. And by the way, Tony, the company ain't all about me. I've got 10 members of family now work here, 4 sons, 1 wife, 2 son-in-laws, a couple of grandsons. And, it's very much a team affair, And, I've got to also add that, why is Pimlico successful? Because we've got 200 people that work for us that are all drinking from the same teapot.
Yeah, so you're all pulling in the same direction. You're big sort of team ethic, and as you say,
undoubtedly. I mean, I wish I could sit back and say, yeah, it's all about me, but believe me, we've got workers here that I can't even turn a computer on, Tone, but well, it's a fact. But I've got people that can, and when they do turn it on, they're brilliant on it. So, you do need people in the business, and there is some good ones out there, and make them aware that you're happy with them, and that's one of the points. Every day, Tone, I walk around and I talk to people. And, if they're doing a great job, I let them know. But I also let them know when they're doing a bad job.
Good stuff. Charlie, you're far too modest. You've got a brilliant business there, and you're the driving force behind it. And I think, you're a real inspiration, certainly to me and I'm sure to our listeners as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Tony, I really enjoyed it, mate. And if I can give a bit of advice and people can benefit from it, then we're back to a win-win-win situation for everybody. Good luck, anyhow. Thank you.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Charlie. That's brilliant.
Okay, that's a nice one, Tone.
All the best then. Cheers. Bye-bye.